Good afternoon. I'm Ed Jonawak, and I am going to take you on a tour through what I call walking it backwards. And walking it backwards is a reference to using the ACA design series in a way that maybe it was never originally intended to be used. The ACA design series is a series of manuals that show us how to size and select equipment. And what we're going to do is use the books sort of in the same order, but to determine if an existing duct system will support the airflow that we need moving across our new system. Still got to start off with doing a load calculation via Manual J. There's no free lunch or bad rules of thumb that we're going to use to determine what size equipment we need. There's the book over there on my left. Computer programs are definitely the way to do things. Got to use Manual S. Manual S is as, if not more important than doing a load calculation. There's a lot of people selecting equipment using, again, bad methodologies instead of finding the proper way to select equipment. In today's example, it's going to be single stage equipment. We did a load calculation and we selected equipment that met the sensible load, met the latent load, but did not exceed our total gain by more than 15%. And there's more guidance in Manual S that talks about two-stage equipment as well as variable volume equipment. But for this example, we're sticking with single-stage equipment. We ended up with a sensible heat ratio of under 0.75. And the way you calculate your sensible heat ratio is to take your total BTUs and divide them into your sensible BTUs. And based on our sensible heat ratio, Manual S gives us guidance to tell us what our airflow is supposed to be. It ends up being 1,000 CFM in our example here. And the example here shows that it ends up being a 3-ton system. And yes, a 3-ton system can be paired with 1,000 CFM to achieve the indoor conditions to which we are shooting for. 400 CFM per ton is not always the correct answer. And I'm going to stop there. I'm going to tell you, if you don't understand what I'm talking about or you're not following me, you really should put some effort into learning what is in Manual S. And Manual S, again, is guidance on selecting not only proper equipment, but what your airflow is supposed to be. So I don't know about you guys, but I've had enough of my mug. So let's just do that and move forward. So in this example right here, there I am, right? A little less gray. I think that's a pretty good profile of me there. We got 20x8 ductwork on an existing system and we're replacing it. So let's determine if that 20x8 ductwork is large enough to move that 1,000 CFM that we just calculated. So will it? Well, let's look at some math, right? The duct needs to move 1,000 CFM. Can it? Well, CFM is equal to area times velocity. That's a fact, right? That's not going to change. We can manipulate that formula into velocity being equal to our CFM divided by our area. Our ductwork at 20x8 would be 160 square inches, and that area does not recognize square inches. In the CFM formula, that area up there is in square feet. So our 160 square inches gets converted into square feet by dividing it by 144. So we're going to solve for feet per minute by taking our 1,000 CFM and dividing it by 1.11, and it's actually some more ones, but doesn't matter. Gives me 900 feet per minute. So that would be good for a supply trunk with galvi metal. It would not be good for a return trunk for galvanized metal. Manual D has in it, or at least the ductulators that I use in my duct design class show 1,000 feet per minute being a max for metal for your velocity on the supply, and 800 feet per minute being your max for your velocity on the return. So at 900 feet per minute, it's no bueno for the return, but it is okay for the supply. Or if you don't want to do math like this and people want to use their, well, let's take our duct slides. And I want to point this out real quick. The aqueduct slide is on the money. I have some other ones around here that were off by like 100 feet per minute. So you might want to do some math if you're not using a quality ductulator. So what I got up there right now, there's my 20 by 8 ductwork. That center section up there is our volume, or our CFM. Down the bottom is our velocity. And we see 1,000 CFM lines up with 900 feet per minute. Notice at no time did I put some BS friction rate up there that I just used as a Padoma number. Right? And there's a select few out there who might know what Padoma means. Let's look at the duct system itself. If you're familiar with manual D, you'll know that the critical path is the one duct run that has the longest total effective length. So we want to do a calculation from our longest return to our longest supply and make sure that it has a TEL under 500 feet. And if it doesn't, well, then use some better fittings or do something so it does. As long as the duct system stays under that prescribed velocity and doesn't have a total effective length greater than 500 feet, which is not out of the question, but for the most part, I'm used to measuring effective lengths between 300 and 400. Then we've determined that we have a duct system that will support the airflow that is required. And if we end up with velocities that are lower, that's fine. Lower velocities will never hurt you. I was at a thing a couple weeks ago, and Alex Meany, the right soft trainer, repeatedly said that low velocity will never hurt you. The air's still going to get there. And I wholeheartedly agree with what he was saying. So I actually think that's the last slide. And oh, it's not. Manual D. What we just covered is fundamentals of manual D. If you understand proper duct design, then what I just covered should be sort of a review. If what I just spoke about is foreign to you, then either get a copy of Manual D or take a class. There's training out there available. If you're in New Jersey or close to New Jersey, get a hold of me and I'll hook you up with some free Manual D training. In fact, I'm doing a class that's sponsored by South Jersey Gas this week. And we have, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 this calendar year. So, got to understand the fundamentals of Manual D to do a good duct design. And as it says up here, there's no need for rules of dumb. And I'll give credit to Luke Peterson. I read that today, where he said he's got to get rid of those rules of dumb. I thought that was pretty funny. So that's it. That's all I got. And I will see you guys later.